Ultimately, the promise of this health stuff is just like so deep. This can be a vehicle for you improving all areas of your life, of reigniting your youthful passion, of just being around to be there with your kids and your grandkids. It's the promise that taking care of this body has. And I need to let you know you are not too far gone. No matter how old you are, how heavy you are, what you've experienced in the past, you can make improvements. And making those improvements, if that's what's on your heart right now, you feel like a desire deep down, you know you want to do better, that's the exact thing that you need to lean into right now. It is your vehicle for growth and development. It's like your spirit is crying out for more. Like, let's create wholeness in all these domains: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. When you do have that, you're on fire. You feel peace in your heart. You're able to really live productively and consciously. You're better for yourself, for your family, for your community. And imagine a world where we're all doing this, right? Imagine a world where we're all on fire. We're all striving towards greater levels of integrity and putting that energy out there and interacting with one another. This whole place changes. Hey there, my friend. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi from the Fit Father Project and the Fit Mother Project. And I want to welcome you back to a special part 2 episode here on the Fit Father and Fit Mother podcast, where we're going to continue our discussion on integrity and how integrity relates to our health. In the last part 1 episode, we looked at the origins of the word health, and we discovered that health actually comes from the old Germanic that means wholeness, the state of being whole. And I was really struck when I figured that out, because I think that really relates to another powerful core value that I share, which is integrity, which also means the state of being whole and undivided. And it got me thinking, to be healthy, we must create wholeness in our lives in all different domains, certainly with our physical bodies, but we also must feel whole with our relationships, with our emotions, with our finances, with our spirituality. And when we create this full 360-degree wholeness in all these important domains, what we end up experiencing is peace, power, love, and the ability to serve one another. All that comes from this centeredness of being whole and being in integrity. And so the goal would certainly be that we feel integrity in our lives in all these different areas. And the pursuit of this life experience is that we can move ourselves into more integrity if we feel like we're out of integrity in any domain. And that's the great work. That's the work that you and I are doing here, is we're creating more integrity. We're trusting our feelings. We're evaluating ourselves, and we're trying to expand, grow, and heal in all these different areas of our lives so we become a more whole, expressed person. I believe that's what God has for each of us to do. We're all unique. We all have this beautiful expression, and we can create more wholeness and integrity in our lives. In today's episode, what I want to do is really zone in on the idea of integrity with our physical health. It's certainly something we focus on a lot here at the FFP and the FMP. And I want to really just analyze this idea of integrity in the physical health in 3 specific domains: integrity with our food, integrity with our movement, and integrity with our weekly and daily habits and rhythms. This is like the behavioral stuff. And I want to start by looking at food. Food is just like so special and so important. I don't think we give it enough credit. We kind of take it for granted. And I think it's crazy because these physical bodies demand food. As long as we're here and we're alive, we must eat. And every time we eat, we're making choices, whether consciously or subconsciously, about the stuff that we're putting into our bodies. If we're loading our bodies with unhealthy stuff that we know is not good for us, we're creating it's a little bit of like self-harm, right? We're doing something that we know is not serving us at our highest level. And oftentimes there's a relationship with food where there's some bit of addiction, or we're using food to cope with emotions. And we're using this domain of food that should be this beautiful thing to fuel us up with great stuff that makes us feel good and helps us flourish. And it kind of becomes deviant, and it gets to a point where it's just not a healthy relationship. And I believe to be whole with the physical, we must first become whole with our relationship to food. And this is what we help our Fit Father and Fit Mother program members do. We help them start these kind of eating plans that are simple and sustainable, based around healthy foods that you already love. So you have a different palate and preferences than I do. And the key thing is to find what are your healthy go-to foods, and how do we fit those into a repeatable structure that you can build momentum on day in, day out, that's not super restrictive. And I think when you start to eat healthier foods and get healthier foods into the body, you start feeling better. And then you start to get this positive association with food where you start to crave healthier foods because they make you feel so good, which makes you crave more healthier foods. And you get this more positive relationship where food becomes supportive, not something that's a source of guilt or a source of feeling out of control with our lives. And if you're experiencing this right now, you are not alone. There are millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that right now are struggling with some kind of food addiction and some kind of relationship with food that's not exactly whole. So what I want to invite you to do is one of the biggest personal development vehicles possible, I believe, is to clean up your relationship to food and start eating healthier foods. If you want help with that, you can certainly come join me and my Fit Father Project, Fit Mother Project teams. We have an incredible program that helps our members do that all the time. But I want you to ask yourself right now, what is your relationship to food? What is it like for you? What does food mean when you associate that with different kinds of words? Is your eating in control? Do you feel like you have consistency? Do you feel like you're restricted? Do you feel like you actually have a good plan that you can sustainably stick to? And I would say this, if you can't say to yourself right now that you have a sustainable nutrition plan that you enjoy following, that makes you feel amazing, there's some aspect of this food relationship that might be a little out of integrity. And I invite you to explore that and to get some help cleaning that up, because it's going to help you tremendously with your health. And as we tell our program members, nutrition is 80% of the battle when it comes to living healthy. So if you just get this one thing nailed, the rest of your life is going to flourish massively without you even investing more time into exercise. Let's clean up the nutrition first. The next domain I want to look at in terms of integrity with your health is the movement and the physical exercise domain. What's your relationship like with movement right now? What's it like being in your body right now? And chances are, as you're getting older, you may have some aches and pains, and your body might not feel as good as it used to when you were in your 20s. And what's your relationship with that? What's the feeling around that? And I think for a lot of people, it comes down to a feeling of frustration, a little bit of resignation that your best days are behind you, and the fact that you can't do what you used to, so you choose not to do anything. Or maybe there's the thought that exercise takes too much time. Or maybe after you've done some of this good work, you might be at a point right now where you're like, I love exercising because it makes me feel amazing and alive. And I know that exercise has become like a fountain of youth for me. What I can tell you is this, is when you start to build a healthy relationship to moving your body and you start to get the body healthier, you're actually going to want to move more. It's like this positive momentum kind of situation where when you start to get the body clean through good nutrition and more regular movement, you start to feel better and want to do stuff more. The beautiful thing about these bodies is they have a tremendous regenerative capacity, no matter what your age, to turn things around. I mean, we've had members on our Fit Father and Fit Mother Project podcast who are in their 60s. We even had program members in their 70s and 80s who actually are starting exercising, who are turning back the clock, activating all these anti-aging genes and hormones that our bodies naturally produce when we exercise. So my question to you is, what is your relationship right now to the idea of movement? What I have come to find in my own personal life and reflections is that my relationship is that these bodies need to move. When I think about movement, the first word that comes to my mind is requirement. These bodies, just baseline, they need to move. And that's not the same thing as exercise. It's the fact that I get up every single morning, and within 1 hour of getting up, I'm taking a walk. I'm walking and I'm starting to give movement. And every day, that's almost like an affirmation I'm making in the physical domain of body needs movement. I will walk every day. It helps me like center me for the day. It's a very powerful practice. I'm starting to accumulate some movement. And then I start to feel better because I'm getting sunshine on my skin and my eyes. I'm breathing fresh air through my nose. And then it makes me a lot more likely to have a positive attitude and want to exercise or do something else later in the day. So what's your relationship to movement right now? As it comes down to exercise, I would say this, the way I think about exercise is it's a really good idea to sprinkle in a couple formal exercise sessions throughout the week and plan them like meetings. A great place to start is 2 to 3 times per week of formal workouts. The cool thing about exercise, if you do the right kinds of workouts, it doesn't take a lot of time to create incredible changes to your physiology, your metabolism, and the way your muscles are totally working. In fact, just 2 to 3 of our metabolic resistance training style workouts, these workouts that are inside our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs, these workouts that are also free on our YouTube channels, just a couple of these per week is plenty of formal workout to get incredible results paired with good nutrition. In fact, I say this, we've had program members lose over 100 pounds just taking daily walks and cleaning up their nutrition without any formal exercise. Now, if you do start to do the right kinds of workouts, what you're going to find is that exercise can become a source of personal empowerment. Because when you start using your body again and seeing progress and strength, you can only lift to 10 pounds. Now you can lift to 15s. Or you got the workout done in 15 minutes less than you did last time. You start to feel more confident. And actually what exercise does is changes your relationship to the idea of doing hard things and challenge. What a lot of our program members come to us when they're in a beat up state, they're feeling out of control with their eating, their bodies hurt, their joints ache, they haven't exercised in years. And maybe those first workouts are tough. But as their bodies start to change and improve, and the chemistry is also changing as they're working out, what they start to do is their psychology gets rewired. They start looking forward to exercise. Even though it's hard, they get tapped into the challenge. And they want to do more with their bodies. And what happens is when you start to look forward to challenging and pushing yourself, it opens you back up to that youthful mindset of looking at possibilities. It gets you out of the back seat of being like, my best days are behind me. I'm just kind of here to sit and ride this one out, to enjoy, to eat myself to death. A lot of people fall into this rut and this mental perspective where I know what's possible on the other side is you can just reinvigorate this passion, this fire for life and for improvement that drove us when we were younger. Exercise can be the vehicle for us reigniting that. And I think that's integrity, right? We have integrity back with our emotions, and that comes through the vehicle of exercise. Now, the final domain I want to look at in just looking at wholeness is with our behaviors and our habits. Because I think ideally what we'd like to create is a sustainable, consistent health routine where we're pretty much like on track. And we inevitably have deviations because we're human, because stuff happens, because we're not always perfect. But those deviations end up being just small little drifts, not these huge yo-yo swings that a lot of people get stuck on, where you're on the plan and you're doing great, and then you're totally off the plan and you're just zigging and zagging through life, and you gain and lose the same 15 pounds over and over. I believe that situation, it feels frustrating because it feels out of integrity. What I believe in our core is that we ultimately just want to feel like we have a healthy routine we can be consistent with. We're taking care of our bodies around the nutrition and the movement and the sleep and the circadian rhythm and the stuff we foundationally need. Well, how do we do this? In today's day and age where we're so busy, where there's so many demands, we open up the mailbox, there's all the bills and the letters, we have all the emails, we have friends and family we're keeping up with. We need a system, something that's strategic that keeps us on track. Because if we don't have the structure, it's so easy to get distracted. So one of the ways I help our program members stay whole with their planning is we do a couple simple things. On Sundays, we look at the week ahead. We plan those 2 to 3 workouts. We put them in the calendar. We know what the structure is for the meal timing. So we know when every new day comes, this is something we can reset to, the layout of the right kinds of meals. We know our go-to foods, the simple, healthy foods that we like to make, and we oftentimes prep those in bulk. These little simple rhythms are really just like the skeleton and the guardrails that enable you to be whole with your health. And it's not saying you need to stick to this stuff rigidly and perfectly. This is just a guideline to help you be more consistent on an ongoing basis, because ultimately when it comes down to our health, it's about momentum management. It's about keeping this momentum moving in a positive direction as opposed to allowing that momentum to backslide into these ruts. If we manage positive momentum, which means managing each and every single day, which means having the ability to reset if we ever feel like we're drifting off track, then we can create more wholeness in this physical domain. Ultimately, the promise of this health stuff is just like so deep. This can be a vehicle for you improving all areas of your life, of reigniting your youthful passion, of just being around to be there with your kids and your grandkids. It's the promise that taking care of this body has. And I need to let you know, you are not too far gone. No matter how old you are, how heavy you are, what you've experienced in the past, you can make improvements. And making those improvements, if that's what's on your heart right now, you feel like a desire deep down, you know you want to do better, that's the exact thing that you need to lean into right now. It is your vehicle for growth and development. And it's like your spirit is crying out for more. Like, let's create wholeness in all these domains: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. When you do have that, you're on fire. You feel peace in your heart. You're able to really live productively and consciously. You're better for yourself, for your family, for your community. And imagine a world where we're all doing this, right? Imagine a world where we're all on fire. We're all striving towards greater levels of integrity and putting that energy out there and interacting with one another. This whole place changes. This becomes a beautiful place to live, becomes heaven on earth. And I want that for us. And it starts with you and me. Checking in on our integrity, working on our physical domain, but also being just as conscious about where we feel like we're in and out in integrity in all the other domains. Hope this conversation helped you, my friend. If you want to really just take this stuff that's oftentimes a little philosophical and just distill it down into a step-by-step action plan, like exactly what to eat with the recipes, the exact workout to follow, those planning sheets on Sunday that you can just check the boxes and follow along, join our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs. We have deals for the new year. We'd love to welcome you into our communities, show you how simple and sustainable this stuff can be. But overall, I'm just happy you're here. I'm happy you're listening to this message. I hope it resonated with you deeply. And I'll see you around the podcast and our YouTube channels. And I'll talk to you very soon, my friend.